Great. Thank you for joining us for this conversation, Wilfred. It's a pleasure to engage with you, and it's a pleasure to just have you actually to share the perspective or experiences of the work that you're doing. For our viewers who engage with our content, this is Odiambo David, African Pharmaceutical Network under the Footprints Project. The essence of our conversation is to curate experiences and insights from people who have walked the journey within the pharmaceutical industry, but also companies who are doing amazing work and actually driving that conversation. And therefore, then we bring this perspective as a learning opportunity, but also to facilitate conversations and partnerships. And today we are honored to have Wilfred Chege from ZenDawa, who will be sharing with us his journey into the space, the work they're doing, and also opportunities for each of us to engage and create value. And with that said, I'll get over to you, Wilfred. So maybe just to give us an introduction on who you are, how you got into this space. Over to you.
Thank you. Excited to be here. My name is Wilfred Chege. I'm the co-founder and CEO to ZenDawa, where we are enabling neighborhood pharmacies to sell online. I am a two-time founder, started my journey very early, I think by the age of 16. This is through a company program while in high school run by Junior Achievement Kenya. And back then, what we were solving for was specifically for students. We were creating a marketplace and linking them to student-centric SMBs. So think of the barter shops, think of the mini markets, and we also had some payment rails integrated. But due to COVID, that company had to shut down because, as you remember, there was a countrywide, or rather a global shutdown, and the prospect of a reopening was not very clear, so we could not sustain the business. And all through that journey, I was still pursuing my bachelor's. I have a background in business and information technology. And around the same time, the closure of my first company had a silver lining to it because my long-term friend, Dr. Victor Chokamondale, was looking for a marketplace where he could avail his medicines online since he's been a retailer or had physical pharmacy shops for the last, I think, 15 years or so. And there was a lockdown, but people still needed access to essential medicines. So he came to me, having been in the space, having a background in technology and business, and requested that if I could be able to avail to him a solution that will enable him to serve his end users using a digital channel. And using my background in venture building, I saw this as an opportunity, and I was able to counter his offer and told him that we can build something that solves for his problem, and not just for him, but for every other neighborhood pharmacy out there. And that's how ZenDawa was born, and a little bit about my background.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I was to be keen to understand how you move from BBI, business information technology, into the pharma, but already you can talk about it in terms of you meeting Victor and engaging with him in that space. And I think that is a good opportunity. So then my question would be, what does ZenDawa do? What are the key things that you guys offer for pharmacies?
Sure thing. ZenDawa is a B2B SaaS platform, SaaS meaning software as a service, where we are enabling neighborhood pharmacies to sell online. So what this means is that through our platform, we are able to avail 3 modules to our pharmacies, them being telepharmacy, pharmacy business management, embedded finance. And these 3 modules are decentralized but communicate with each other. How this looks like in a real world scenario is we do an appraisal of the pharmacy that we want to onboard. We see their level of digitization, and once we ascertain whether they have the proper structures, we now make a decision on which of the modules we are going to activate first for them. So for tier 3 pharmacies, these are pharmacies that are operating on pen and paper, have no level of digitization. What we do is we give them a simple POS for them to streamline their operations, have their walk-in sales recorded in a digital format. And once they have streamlined their offline, rather, if I should say offline operations, we then come in with the telepharmacy module, where we tell them that We have a marketplace where end users can engage with it and or place orders, and they can join to become a fulfillment partner. Because through our ZenDawa marketplace app, when an end user places an order, the algorithm routes it to the nearest pharmacy within our network for fulfillment and delivery. So once we've ascertained that your business is in order, we are able to activate for you the telepharmacy module, and you become a fulfillment partner. And what this does for you is you're able to get online orders without incurring the cost of setting up a digital footprint, because we shoulder all that, and it is at no expense to the pharmacy. And once we've worked with them and aggregate both their working data and their online sales data, we're able to push this to an embedded finance partner who's able to avail to them credit, both in inventory financing as well as working capital. And what this facilitates is growth without necessarily opening up multiple locations. So you find that some of our best performing pharmacies have upped their sales by even up to 30%. And this is because they're leveraging from the digital sales that we are able to generate for them without them necessarily opening up shop in multiple areas.
Oh, that's commendable. So then ultimately you are mostly offering a digital solution to them, but at the end of the day, they're serving the customers. So which is a
Yes,
B2B
yes,
to C in a way from a SaaS system.
yes,
Interesting.
yes.
And in terms of that, maybe my question would be, what would you say as your main kind of bottlenecks, or what are the key opportunities that you're seeing in that growth as a company?
Yeah. So I would say one of the key challenges that we're having is tech savviness. I know
Mhm.
this comes a little bit sticky, but I don't know if you come from a pharmaceutical background, but this technical jargon sometimes is just too much. And we have to undergo a very should be shorter. It's not that long, around 2 weeks, but I believe it should be shorter. So in that
Mm.
2 weeks is the time that it takes for us to engage a pharmacy all the way to onboarding them, even if it's just the first module. And during that period, we have to really communicate the value prop of what we are doing, beyond just pharmacies using an inventory management system.
I guess.
So that becomes a challenge, because that is an investment that we have to make before we are able to onboard. So if there is avenues for mass training for pharmacists, just on how digitization can be able to boost their sales and their administrative burdens, I think that is something that would really, really drive down our cost when it comes to acquisition.
The aspect on training, that is the main hurdle for them to be onboarded. Interesting.
Yeah.
And in terms of your market penetration, how has the growth been? How long have you been in existence?
So we incorporated in 2022. So how I think 4 years, 3 4 years, yeah, since
Mm.
because we started in 2023, and the market has been the reception has been good. My co-founder has been a community pharmacist for the longest, so we did not have any issues when it comes to brand adoption, because we already had some sort of leeway, or networks rather, with the
Mm.
pharmacies. So that is what we were able to double down on. And the prospect is very, very it's very robust, because everybody's talking about digitization. I think that there's a pharmaceutical conference, the annual pharmaceutical conference going on, and it's the main agenda. So I think we are building at the right time, and we are solving for the right problem in the right space.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's a good place to be. And if you look at it at the moment, because one of the key things, as you've just mentioned it, from what's happening in the conference at the moment, everybody's talking about digitization, the government, from the digital superhighway conversation and all that. What makes your solution unique compared to all the competitors? Because we have so many of them coming into the market.
Yeah. I think it's how we've structured our value prop, because I think we're the only player where you'll be able to get all these three modules in the same package, and the modules are decentralized. So what this does is we are able to work with a pharmacy that operates on pen and paper. Most of our competitors cannot provide for such a market, because they do not have a growth plan for these pharmacies. So they have to go to tier 1 and tier 2 pharmacies who have some sort of a budget to be able to adopt their solution. So we are unique in the sense that our platform can literally take a pharmacy operating from a pen and paper and make them revenues upwards of 1 million USD in a month recurring. And that growth plan is unique to our business model, given that no player is doing it as we're doing it. And we're very asset light. From what I've shared, you'll realize that we do not have any assets within our business model. So this provides for very quick scaling when it comes to unlocking new markets. And I believe this positioning really gives us an unfair advantage.
No, that's a good space. But then you have limited operational overheads as well. So that gives you the agility to be able to move. And
Yeah.
I think that is a good space to be. And it's also an opportunity where you're looking at how things are moving. And by the virtue that all the development in the digital space, there's a lot of good in it, but there are also reservations that people have in terms of the quality control and the patient safety aspect, but also the regulatory oversight. What are the key things that you're looking at and the key development that you're seeing in that space?
So for me, I normally tend to say that I am building with the practitioners and not for the practitioners. You'll realize that in my core team, I have my co-founder, a well-seasoned pharmacist. We also have Dr. Masi, who's an M-Pharm, who's serving at the council of the conference, is very deeply rooted in the operations of the pharmacy ecosystem within the country. So I'm not building for them, but rather I'm building with them. And what this provides is that anything that does not come into the purview of regulation, and whenever we become a little bit too ambitious, I have the experts in-house to tell me that if we go that route, we will be contradicting Article XYZ. So I think the fact that I'm just the captain of this ship, built with experts, really enables us to address those issues.
No, that's a good place to be. You're working with people who will kind of put you in check and tell you where things should be moving. And I think it also brings the perspective of you have the experts to shape where the work is going to move into. If all goes well and the way your vision is clear for you, what would success mean for ZenDawa and you as a leader?
I believe that what we can accomplish with ZenDawa is being the source of truth when it comes to online pharmaceutical dispensation for both prescription and non-prescription medication. What I mean by the source of truth is this vehicle is designed to capture essentially all stakeholders within the ecosystem, coming from the pharmacist to the suppliers to the distributorship, because we are just layering tech and we are not we are not reinventing the wheel at any of the touch points. And this vehicle can be able to absorb all the stakeholders as mentioned and become the source of truth. So when you want to order quality drugs, that you're sure there's a licensed pharmacist behind that drug that is being issued, and the quality of the drug is assured, because that is something that we really take seriously when onboarding the pharmacies where they source their drugs. If they have all the documentation with different regulators, we are able to assure the end user that what you're getting is quality, and you can be able to walk in to where this medication was sourced, in case you need to make any inquiries, if probably the support that we'll have given will not be enough. So that is what I envision as success for ZenDawa.
And the source of truth for everybody and actually getting every stakeholder on board. And have you had conversation with people upstream, especially beyond the pharmacies at the moment?
Yes, you should be seeing that as from next month. We have something very exciting that we are launching, and I will intend to speak to it right now, but best believe we have good things coming the way in regards to upstream.
Fantastic. That's amazing to know. And maybe a question now for the pharmacies, beyond the aspect in terms of tech adoption and the need for training, which would be customized for as many people as possible. My other question would be, what are the key things that you feel are happening, the gaps in running of pharmacies in the country, where there's an opportunity for improvement and probably where you could support from ZenDawa standpoint, what you see gaps are?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge, and I feel like it needs to be a conversation we need to have, is on liquidity. We are solving for it through our embedded finance module, but we feel that we might not satisfy the need because for the longest time, if you're aware how the inner workings of the supply chain works, post-date checks are the currency of trade. And these post-dated checks, sometimes you find that medicines expire on the shelves. You find that your building is undergoing renovation, so you're out of work. So what happens when you're not able to sell from the, because the retailer has to sell so that there's liquidity upstream, because since from the point that a container docks, post-dated checks are being issued. So what happens then? And this is a very big challenge, and it has literally strangled scale because there's that confine of liquidity, and we are solving for it with embedded finance, but again, we cannot solve it for everybody. And I feel this is a space that needs to be addressed. If we are able to have sufficient liquidity into the pharmacies that are currently in the country, and the framework that we have, in the sense that they do not need to open multiple locations, they can leverage our digital channels and stock up. So you find that if these pharmacies are able to stock up without necessarily opening up multiple locations, I think we can literally 2x the value of quality of care that we are currently giving to the end users.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think that aspect on financing has always been a challenge. The question is, how do we guarantee that kind of liquidity, but also the growth potential? And in terms of
Yeah.
geographical reach, are there any specific regions that you're looking at? Because definitely there could be a pharmacist watching this and they're like, oh, I would want to be, but are you covering my region as well?
Yeah. So long as you have a physical shop,
Mhm.
and you have your documents in order, we are able to serve you, because our third-party partner is operational countrywide. And
Mhm.
so long as you have people ordering, end users ordering from within your vicinity, they're able to come and collect and deliver. So our scope is kind of limited by our internal capital expense for acquisition. But if there is any pharmacy out there that wants to onboard, it's just as simple as clicking on a link through our ZenDawa website, filling in the necessary information, and you will be onboarded to enjoy all the services. So we are not limited in any way with scope. Where we are currently operation is just because of our own acquisition cost, because
Constraint. Mm.
our main strategy has been direct selling. We cannot have an agent in every corner of the country, but if there is a pharmacy out there that wants to partner with us, it's just as simple as filling up a form and we will be able to service them.
How do they get the form? Just walk us through the
It's on
process, or
our
at least
website.
somebody can follow through. Mhm.
Yeah, it's on our website, web.zendawa.africa. If you go to the contact us page, you'll be able to see a link with the title "Partner with Us," and if you click on that link, you'll give us your superintendent pharmacy license, your business location, your tax PIN, and we'll check with the regulators. If all your documents are in order, you will get an email stating that your portal, your back office rather, has been activated, and we will do a call with you, just walk you through the different modules, and based on the information that you'll have given us to that pro forma, we will decide on which of the modules we will activate for you. If you have a robust, if you're already doing robust sales and probably you need some working capital, we can activate all the 3 modules for you, and you can use your historical walk-in sales data to apply for a loan. But if you need help with structuring your business, we are more than happy to send agents over, do a needs assessment to see if you have the necessary hardware, and we're going to activate for you the POS, and you'll be able to access the services. So it's as simple as that, and we'll be very happy to get some referrals from these conversations.
Definitely, I'll be more than glad, and I'll share the link actually to the website on the form when we're sharing the video, so that also all our viewers can get to know what the information is and how they can enroll. And what are the probable
Sure thing.
expected timelines, turnaround timelines for somebody who expresses interest that they want to join the platform and be part of your network?
It takes
Average?
24 to 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
This is just for our internal team to review the documents, check with the regulators' portals, and see if there is any issues. If all your paperwork is in order, within 48 hours, you should be up and running. If there
Mm-hmm.
is any issues that need to be addressed, probably if your license is expired, we have contacts within these organizations where we are able to expedite it. So if you have any issues, it normally takes between 3 to 4 days, but if all your documents are in order, should be anything between 24 to 48 hours.
48 hours. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. And I think I'm hoping people will take up this opportunity, but also just get to engage with you and see what can value can we bring into the ecosystem and how that would work forward. Maybe my other
Sure thing.
question would be, if you look at this kind of an engagement, how often do you get engagement with industry players, and how do you feel like these industry conversations could help move these kind of innovation and this development forward? Because I look at it from a point of as African Pharmaceutical Network, our main focus is to bring these conversations and to facilitate networks and collaboration. So what are some of the key values that you feel this kind of an engagement could bring to ZenDawa, and how can you take advantage of it moving forward?
Yeah, I think we have a couple of tools, if I should call them tools, that we are working out. And one challenge that we've experienced is getting the right person within, if I should say, the public offices to talk to. But this is something that we've been able to kind of not overcome fully, but overcome to some extent, given that we are part of the Health Tech Hub Accelerator run from Rwanda. And they're very heavy on policy, public setup or policy engagement. And so we have at least achieved some streamlined way of communication through them in accelerating adoption and testing of these tools that we're developing, specifically to enrich pharmacies with information, as well as reduce their administrative burdens. So if we can have, the stronger the conversation, the better. So if we can piggyback on your existing networks just to echo the same message that we are echoing through the Health Tech Hub, we would really appreciate that too.
And what are some of the key regulatory and policy constraints that you have that you would expect that kind of changes to happen on?
Yeah. So it's not, I wouldn't call it as regulatory, rather, because we are operating as a tech company. So I would
Yeah.
say not for us, but it's a bottleneck for other innovators,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
I
Okay.
think we have the technical capacity in-house, but you find there are standards that you need to adhere to when you're developing your platform if you want to be interoperable with some of this government-led software solutions or legacy systems, rather. Specifically FHIR, that works for Kenya. So you find that early on, before we could get somebody from the to add on to the team to be able to make our systems interoperable, it was a challenge advancing these conversations. So having these standards and having the innovation ecosystem aware that they should be developing solutions in line with these standards, I think that is a conversation that needs to be had more, so that as innovators are innovating, they can be well positioned for interoperability.
Yeah. No, that's a good place to be. And I think there's a lot of conversations around the digital system and the digital framework, but then you realize there's that disconnect in terms of what the regulation provides for, what the developers are working with, but also what is already existing in the market. So some of
Exactly.
the, and I would say this is one of the key conversations that I've had even with some of the pharmacies. They're saying, I have an POS system or an IT system, but it cannot connect with a new integrated solution that could add value into my business. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it doesn't align with what the government is providing for under the data protection and data requirement laws. So how do
Yeah.
we bring that kind of nexus? I think those are conversations that we'll be keen to have and see how that conversation moves forward. Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So maybe I would ask you one thing. If one thing was to work for you at the moment, what would that be to be able
So
to
for
deliver your work?
Yeah. So for me, I'm looking at scale right now. And I will not talk about Kenya, I'll talk about Africa. And I think having a framework where we can be able to tap into to enable scale of some for some of these solutions would really accelerate our entry into new markets. So I know there has been an ongoing conversation of one regulatory framework that works across the region. But if that conversation can be accelerated, I think it can unlock immense opportunity. Because I think just as East Africa, we're looking at a market value cap of around $2 billion. So if you have a solution and you have a market that you can readily tap into, and you're having a conversation about $2 billion, I think that's very different than rather talking about a solution that only works within the confines of your local market.
I agree with you. And in maybe one question that I've just thought about with which I think maybe we would have missed out on, when you have a financing partner, what amount of capital would we be saying that the pharmacies can be able to tap into your platform if they come on board?
Yeah, so it's all based on a credit score. Once you avail to us the data, the embedded finance partner aggregates it and gives you a credit score. And based on that credit score is when you're given the threshold of what amount of capital you can be able to access. So it ranges from as little as 30,000 Kenyan shillings to upwards of 10 million Kenyan shillings. So it's purely based out of your credit score.
Credit score, but also the capital needs that somebody has, definitely.
Yes, so the capital needs is for you to decide internally. If you're given a threshold of up to $10 million, 10 million Kenyan shillings, sorry, and you don't have the need for the 10 million Kenyan shillings, you will apply for the 1 million Kenyan shillings, depending on your needs, and fulfill that in line with the agreement.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, Wilfred, for the conversation. Maybe I'll give you the last chance just to tell us anything you want to our viewers to take from this conversation.
I would like to say that we are building for Africa, and the future is very, very bright, given the fact that digitization is a topic that has become mainstream. It's no longer a product of innovation conferences or tech challenges. It's something that is mainstream, but we would request rather that your viewers to become more apprised of the fast pace that tech is adopting, because tech is moving at a very fast pace, and it becomes very hard because the solution that you had built yesterday becomes obsolete tomorrow. And every time you need to have a conversation with the end users about how this solution will be implemented using different strategies or different tools because of the acceleration of tech. So I just implode our your end users, or your viewers rather, that we need tech will touch your life whether you like it or not. So the more apprised you are of what's happening within the tech ecosystem, makes it easier for us to roll out some of these solutions.
Thank you. It's our opportunity to get into the tech space, take advantage of it, and also see how it streamlines our operations within the pharmaceutical value chain. By doing that, we help us tap value and also move it to the next conversation. Thank you so much, Wilfred. I really appreciate you taking the opportunity to join us for the conversation. And I'm hoping our viewers and our members of the network would find value of this, and also, most importantly, engage and see what new frontiers can we come into. And that would be a great success for our journey. Thank you, and have a good one.
You too. Cheers.